Iowa State just did the unthinkable, and Dave Aranda is unfired for now. This is a really good start to the day, and this is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Six consecutive losses at home for Iowa State. The Baylor Bears had won 13 straight against SMU. They are down 38-24, the same score they lost to Auburn with. And both of these end up being wins for the Big 12. A team that cannot win at home against Iowa does just that against their rival. And a team that's down by 14 points and can't physically do the defense thing with a head coach whose entire MO is defense. Somehow, those end up being good for us. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. I think back to last season when non-conference things went really poorly for the Big 12, or 2 years ago when Iowa State was losing to group of 5 teams. This is a completely different feel. Let's start. The crazier of the two was certainly Baylor over SMU, and I'm going to divulge into that in a second. But let's really get into the nitty-gritty of Iowa State and Iowa. Once again, Iowa's offense is ass, like bad. They cannot throw the football. They can barely score in a football game, but their defense is good. That's what's going to keep them in games all year in the Big Ten. It's what kept them in this game overall, and it was 13-13 at one point late in the third quarter because Iowa State's inability to score in the second half against a very good Iowa defense. But the Gronowski kid, I try to tell you, and it doesn't take a genius. I don't have to be an expert analyst to know this. He's bad at football. 13 for 24 with a pick. Now, he ran the ball fine, but he threw for 83 yards against an Iowa State defense that looks better and better now 3 weeks into the season. I do believe they could still be at the top of my Big 12 power rankings come the end of this week because of what they did defensively. The offensive side of the ball, 14 first downs, not good. 238 total yards, not good. Overall, Iowa State was lackluster. The penalties weren't great. Third down, 8 for 15 because of short yardage third downs. That's a highlight in a bright spot. But the offense didn't show me anything, and you lose the time of possession battle as well. The offense did not show me anything for Iowa State that I'm writing home about. But what you have to understand, in the same way that when Ole Miss plays Kentucky under Lane Kiffin, for some reason, stuff goes weird. What you have to understand is that in these games, in these rivalry matchups, it might not always make sense. You might be a much better school, and you might be playing at home. And it doesn't always make sense, and it didn't make a ton of sense for Iowa State to play so close with an opponent that I think they are much better than. But it's what happened because of that word, rivalry. They stopped the run effectively, just 3.4 yards per carry for Iowa. That could not get it done. Obviously, they stopped the pass. And then if you look at Iowa State's offense, Rocco Becht was still 18 for 27. That's not terrible. The short yardage game is where Iowa State decided to go, aside from a play or two here or there. The longest pass of the game was 35 yards, a dot to Brett Eskelson. Outside of that, this was a ground control. Try to control the clock, which you did not do. Try to keep Iowa, even if they get 2 first downs, 3 first downs in a drive, try to keep Iowa from getting into the red zone or into field goal range. Force them to punt the ball in Iowa State territory. That's what the Cyclones were able to do. That's what spelled victory for a team that's now 3-0. And 3 quality wins, 2 Power 4 wins, one of them in Dublin, Ireland, the other one against an Iowa school that has the winningest Big Ten coach of all time, and they had not beaten Iowa at home in 6 different trips. You got the monkey off your back. And your other win is against a South Dakota team that's number 4 in the FCS, and you blew them out of the water. What the Cyclones are doing right now is winning. And all I'm asking the Cyclones to do is win. And as long as they're checking that box, we have no issues here. This is still one of the best teams in the Big 12, a formidable opponent for anyone, and I think that they legitimately could contend for the Big 12 title come the end of the year. Baylor SMU. The Bears. My alma mater. I don't even know where to. Sawyer Robertson? You'll have to remember when RG3 won the Heisman. Baylor wasn't elite. They won the Alamo Bowl that year, similar to how Travis Hunter played in the Alamo Bowl. He won the Heisman. That may be the case for Sawyer Robertson, but let's pull up his box score from this week. 34 for 50, 440 yards, 4 touchdowns. Last week against an SEC opponent, he threw for 425. He leads the country in passing yards. And there is a Big 12 quarterback named Sawyer Robertson, who may very well be in New York at the end of the season based off of his statistics that will be an anomaly in college football in a year where quarterbacks aren't that great. That's where Sawyer can make his bet. I haven't even got to like Josh Cameron, Ashton Hawkins, the way that the offense stepped up from a receiver standpoint when Michael Trigg wasn't getting the same receptions he was against Auburn when the tight end game wasn't working. That's incredible. But can we please give credit to the box score? And honestly, give a little bit of credit to SMU for helping be like, you know what? We tap Baylor, whatever. You guys are good. The Bears only go 3 for 6 on 4th down. And their whole thing is getting 4th downs to help keep the game alive. That's kind of what Baylor's MO is and has been this season and will be under Dave Aranda the rest of his tenure. There's a point here down 14, by the way, in the 4th quarter where we are firing Dave Aranda, where it is a miracle if Baylor's going to come back and win this game, and his job is on the line. He's 0-2, and Jake Spavital is putting up 30 points, 31 points, and they're still going to lose the game because Dave Aranda, the defensive genius, is the defensive genius Dave Aranda in the room with us right now. He's a ghost. He's not a thing. But when it matters the most, shout out. Champagne bottle in your hotel room, handshake and a hug to the SMU kicker. I'm watching the TV broadcast. Like, hey, the highest point scorer in SMU history. This kid is a legend. He'll never buy a beer again in Dallas because of how good he is. Buddy, you're buying all of Dallas their beers now. You just went from, yeah, well, I'm the kicker, to please don't recognize me in public. Just 3 missed field goals for SMU today that buried them in this game. If you had what Iowa State has, if you had what Baylor has, the Bears had a better kicking game than SMU, and Baylor's looking at a redshirt freshman that's trotting out there for every field goal. Then SMU wins this game, and they win this game by maybe 10. But they couldn't do that because they don't have the same kicker as Baylor. They don't have the same kicker as Iowa State. They couldn't find a way to get it done with special teams. And can I shout out Kyle Conradi? That's a guy who will never buy a beer again. If he's in like a 25-mile radius of Ames, Iowa, which I've been in, and everybody knows everybody, and the bars are good, and the chicken wings are good, and the cheese fries and the mozzarella sticks are great. Cheese sticks, as they call them. Conradi will never pay for anything again, and he shouldn't have to. 3 for 3 game winner against the Iowa Hawkeyes. It was 54 yards. He is once again the Hawkeye killer. If SMU has that, SMU wins this game. But instead, Baylor, they are buying non-alcoholic. They're buying O'Doul's Baptist School for the SMU kicker for being really, really bad. The over hits in this game. Baylor covers the 2.5. They were a play of the week for me, by the way. Iowa State was -3, was a play of the week. That's a push, so I'll give myself the victory. Baylor money line was a play of the week for me this week. I won a lot on FanDuel, by the way. This is a big start for the Big 12. This is a big start for the Big 12. We will talk at length later on here in a bit about how the rest of the day went in this conference. But for now, Baylor and Iowa State took care of business. That matters a lot in a conference that needs it right here on Locked On Big 12. Oh, today's show is brought to you by the Game Cap. The Game Cap, you can get your first hat for $16.99 when you use code LOCKEDON at thegamecaps.com. Thegamecaps.com, code LOCKEDON, like less than $17 for a vintage hat. The quick question is, the best hat of all time at your school is probably worn in the 80s, the 90s. Yeah, the best hat. For me, the Game is where I go to get vintage styles that fans wore back in the day. Guess what? It's the same price as back in the day, $17. Locked On is your code, LOCKEDON. Go to thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design. Use code Locked On for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game. Good. It's good. Good start to the day. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.